Hello, and welcome to another RANGROO unit of the week. And today we are taking a look at the Harrier GR.7 for the United Kingdom. Now, the Harrier jump jet was first developed in the early 70s by the United Kingdom to be a short takeoff, interceptor, attack and reconnaissance plane. The whole gimmick of the Harriers, you all know it, is that it can take off vertically because its engines can spin around a smaller little engines instead of having a big one on the back and a tail. They're actually on the side on these little small things that pivot around. So the Harrier could take off on helicopter pads and short carriers. They're used quite a lot in the Falklands conflict in 1982, but the first generation Harriers from the 70s were rather out of date, and the United States had quite a bit of interest in these Harrier aircraft. So in the 80s they made the second generation of Harriers. Now the one that we're looking at is the GR.7, which was first developed in the 90s. It had more fancy avionics, and the main thing was that it could carry a greater payload than its predecessors, mainly laser guided payloads. But in real life, Harrier GR.7s with laser guided payloads were a rarity, as most pilots weren't trained to use them at the time. In game, the Harrier GR.7 is a 120-point UK bomber plane, and it has 3 weapons available to it. First off, we have the Trin Aiden 30mm autocannon with 2 of these autocannons available to this plane. I'm not really going to go over the stats, rather standard plain autocannons. Not great for strafing enemy tanks or infantry, but if you do need some last resort to deal with an enemy plane or helicopter, you at least got these guns. Now secondly, we got 4 GBU Trove Pave Raid 2 guided bombs with a range of ground of 3,500 meters, a dispersal area of 0 meters, 10 HE power, and a reload time of 1 second. But that doesn't really matter, because when you use this plane, you drop all the bombs at the same time on the same area. So really, instead of it having 10 HE, you could actually say it's more of a 40 HE damage, because the dispersion is so tight that all of them are going to land right on top of each other, making these very powerful bombs. But you can't exactly clear out an entire town, maybe just a sector or 2. And thirdly, we got AIM-9L Fire and Forget short-range infrared missiles, with a range of helicopters of 2,100 meters, airplanes of 3,850 meters, 50% accuracy, 4 HE, and a reload time of 2 seconds. And these are rather good short-range missiles, good for, maybe sneaking in a helicopter kill, or for defending yourself close range against enemy interceptors, but you're not really going to be using them all too much. And if you just pop down to some miscellaneous stats, it has no armor whatsoever, 10 HP, 40% ECM, very good air detection, a speed of 750 km an hour, a tight turn radius of 350, poor stealth, a time over target of 80 seconds, and it can be brought in support, motorized, armored, mechanized, and airborne and marine decks, so pretty much all the decks. In battle, the Harrier, like a lot of units that I review, has one specific goal. This goal is to blow the crap out of enemy Red 4 tanks, and it does a pretty bloody good job. Those laser guided bombs are dead on accurate, and even if you lose sight of an enemy tank, the bombs will still follow and hit the tank, and it just makes it really bloody good. Because with other bomber units, you want to usually do a direct fire target or fire mission over a general area. While with the Harrier, you want to make sure you right click that tank and watch it get blown up. Now, it's not exactly great against anything else, because your dispersal radius of the bombs is so tight, you're not really going to be doing too much damage over a big area. And the speed isn't great, 750 km an hour is a little bit slow. It does have a higher ECM rate, 40% ECM, which does give it a survivability against AA pieces, but if you want to get it to the front line faster, MiG 29 or 27 will do the job a lot better. And secondly, some of the top tier Red 4 tanks can survive a bombing run, because this thing does 40 HE damage, sometimes not the full 40 because the bomb radius may drop, you know, 2 meters to the right, so it doesn't hit the top armor. So pretty much the general rule is, if a Red 4 tank has 4 top armor, it's going to survive by 1 or 2 HP. So if you want to bomb a tank with that much top armor, it's usually best to try to get a hit or 2 on it first before calling in the Harrier, and then it will die to your bombs. But yeah, the Harrier, it's your bunker buster. If you want to make a big hole in one target, and a really big hole at that, you can't really go wrong. This is pretty much your best anti-tank guided missile plane, even though it uses bombs. But that doesn't matter, it gets the job done, and this is honestly one of the best ways to deal with Red 4 super heavy tank spam, just as long as these guys don't get shot down. So, as usual, I'm going to leave it on that. This has been another RANGROO unit of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as usual, please just take it easy.